Nearly a month has gone by since the Isenhouer brothers race team stripped the T2 to a bare chassis in preparation for Vegas to Reno. The main components were quickly shipped out to be inspected and rebuilt. With many of those parts returning to the shop, Nick and Chris can now begin the reassembly process.
Yeah, since I guess last time you were here, we powder coated the truck. ECP did it. They did a really good job. And we sent out a lot of other parts to get powder coated. We got new chassis stands, which are really nice, from Craig Hall. Pretty cool. Whole thing moves. And we don't have any parts. We sent everything to where it's supposed to be, to the respected homes, and now we're just kind of waiting, just tinkering on what we can until parts show up. But yeah, Chris started putting some of this stuff together. So as you can see, this part's white, and this part's white, and this part's white. Radiator tray is not white anymore. That is now sparkly black, which you won't see until the sun comes out. I made a bumper, so we don't have to rebuild this whole back part again. So now this just gets broken. Now we're just waiting on parts. So I'm sure you're asking, you powder coat the chassis, why didn't you powder coat the suspension? Well, the truth of it is, the suspension gets hammered, and it would be really expensive to just keep powder coating and powder coating and powder coating. So we usually use steel it, and the faces of the housings and the bottoms of the trailing arms get beat up, and then we just touch it up and call it good. Poor housing's seen better days. Thing's pretty beat up, but it's okay. Still straight. So this is an ultrasonic cleaner. It heats up the fluid in here, and then it vibrates things super duper fast, ultrasonically. I got this from Amazon. It's like 300 bucks, and it saves you hours and hours of bolt cleaning. I'll demonstrate. This is the basket. This is a bunch of just random stuff. Bolts and hardware, some plastic pieces, some rubber. What it does is it just vibrates all the dirt and all the junk and everything off this. And then we use SC14 in there and water. So you dunk it in the junk, set the heat to Celsius because it's an Amazon and it's probably not from around here. And then you set it for 30 minutes and now your camera audio sucks. Then you come back in 30 minutes and you got clean parts. 30 minutes, everything comes out nice and shiny and new. It does a good job. It just saves you a bunch of time having to wipe bolts down. If it fits in the basket, you can clean it. Do you remember how all this went together? Pretty sure it's tranny fluid. It smells like tranny fluid. We're gonna go with tranny fluid.
Excellent observation.
Pretty sure this is where this goes. This one smells like fuel, so I'm gonna go with that one. All right, I think we're done. Just a few more zip ties and we'll be driving this thing. Put the throttle pedal in yesterday, big milestone. Pretty sure this is fuel.
Yikes.
Oh, you actually did it.
That's fuel.
Yeah, you're probably gonna be sick. Should probably clean that up before it eats the floor.
I'll lick it up.
Yeah.
I really like this organized disassembly table you have here.
This was not my doing.
Who knows where these bolts went?
I can tell you this is a hammer. I'm gonna blame this on Big Dylan. I don't know where Nick went. He's wiping a radiator down.
Chris was wondering what you're doing.
Cleaning the radiator. Very important.
Like how?
Very. That's what keeps things cool.
Like how are you cleaning it?
Oh, I was just like, because it's been real dirty from like getting a bunch of stuff, so I've actually just been like cleaning the tanks so they look pretty. But then aside from that, I pressure washed all the dirt and grime, everything out of it. And I stuffed the hose in the radiator portion of it and pumped all the old coolant out. I didn't do anything to the oil. The oil was really clean when we pulled the engine apart, so we're just gonna run with it. This part's coolant, like engine coolant, and this is engine oil. It's one big unit that sits behind the seats laid down. We did this just for packaging, kind of make it look kind of cool, a little race car style. Yeah, it's worked out pretty cool. Once we figured out how to duct the air to it properly, we've been in good shape. Before that, the truck used to run real hot. That's what that big scoop is for now. Right before Vegas to Reno last year, so a year ago or about now, is when we figured out that it got too hot still. But now I'm gonna pick all the rocks out of here, which is just fun. Great times. Just like a suspension pivot or a shock bolt or anything, these radiator fans are just as important. And so we put Loctite on literally every single piece and part of this truck so that nothing comes loose, because the last thing you want is your radiator fans falling off your truck halfway through a race. Just a little dab. Loctite, you dialed in. So these are hose clamps, and they were this long, right? And you mark them and you mark them and you cut them so you don't have like a bunch of excess like hanging off around like whatever you're hose clamping, because then it looks like crap. And then you put heat shrink around it to protect the item that you're hose clamping, and it makes it look better. So now I get to run a torch because Will said I can't run a torch because it's too loud. It makes a lot of noise. Torch it, not a lot because it'll split it, but then you're done. How do you suggest we do this? Do we run them like that? All right. Or we run them. I don't like that.
I always think what would be easiest if you need to replace a filter to get to.
I think looking at you would probably be the easiest. I'm gonna go with that.
When you take the bedside off, is it like available right here?
No, there's a big panel that sits here.
So can you reach behind here? Oh, okay. So if you need to replace a filter, you're kind of
screwed anyway. I might put them on the bottom because this whole panel's got to come off anyway, and you come down here and so you don't see them from the top.
Who's gonna see them?
Whoever takes the
You
panel
just said
off.
the panels, and well, then they're right there.
The spaghetti meatball. Just had to race cars in the dirt. We put fuel lines and filters and power steering lines and a power steering reservoir and a steering wheel, new bearings because they were trashed, brake pedal, brake lines are in, just not zip tied. Floorboards are in, battery trays are in, rugged air pumper is back in, just needs a filter and some lines off of it. There's a shifter here. 2 GPSs are back in the car, the rugged radios and a Motec screen, Motec computers. The engine ECU is back in this thing. The JMR brake reservoirs are back in it. We're waiting on some steering components. Got all the rubber in from McMaster car, which is kind of cool. That means that now we can put the radiator back in the car. But yeah, what we do is you line the bottom of the trays here with some rubber, and it's got like a sticky adhesive to the backside. That way it sticks to the tray and it protects your cooler from getting damaged. So yeah, we're making some good progress. We'll put one here, and we'll put one where the transmission cooler goes. So we got our material here cut. I just used the stomp shear over there, measured the tray out, and then just like that, it's in. Just kidding. You still got to pull the adhesive on or off and stick it in there. But that's generally the idea of what you're trying to get at when you trying to protect your coolers. So yeah. We have a little over a month and a couple weeks to have this thing completely race ready. Got a lot of work ahead of us and not a lot of time, but we'll get it done somehow. What are you idiots doing? What are you idiots doing? Jumping the gun over here and just trying to put the engine in without. We gotta film it. We gotta film everything. You gotta film it.
We're running out of time.
We're not running out of time. Put the motor in. Okay, now we're filming it. I'm just here to supervise. Put it in, boys. Put that motor in. I'm just kidding. I was painting parts over there, and they started putting the motor in. So now I'm filming it. All right, there it goes. There it goes. Don't scratch the paint. Oh, it's going in there. It's such a tight fit. Show the people what they want to see. What do they want to see? Let's show the people Chris putting in bolts with the socket that doesn't fit. There it goes. So something different about this truck than your standard pre-runner Ford Ranger off-road truck or what have you is that it has what's called a mid-plate. Why do they call it a mid-plate?
It's in the middle.
It's in the middle of the motor, and then the transmission goes here, and what this does is it locates the engine into the chassis and the transmission into the chassis, and it keeps all of it nice and square and tight. And then you also run like standard motor mounts in the front, even though the back of this thing's bolted in pretty sturdy. So Chris over here is still trying to put the giant ratchet in here. It's not gonna work out, but we're gonna let him keep trying. Just keep scratching up that fresh paint. That's cool. Motor's now home, so we tighten all these bolts here, and then when the transmission goes in here, the Bellhausen bolts go through and suck the transmission and the motor together, sandwiching the mid-plate. It's just kind of something a lot of tube chassis trucks do. This is a customer's transmission, but this is the race tranny. We got this back from Colhane, refreshed after about 700 miles. Nothing was wrong with it, just service it, low preventative maintenance. And the other exciting part, so we got all the suspension back. There's missing a lower control arm in one of the uprights because there were tiny little cracks. Because what we did is called Magnaflex testing, and we're just checking it out, looking for cracks. What it does is it's got like you magnetically, like you charge the control arm magnetically, and then there's like a fluid that has like metal in it basically, and it sucks into cracks, and then it glows so you can kind of see the cracks and see where the issues are. So AJ Beck up at Evan Weller Racing handles all that for us. Found a couple little cracks on some parts, nothing major, just like wear things. So I'll weld those things up, and then we're gonna coat everything with Steel It, and then it's all ready to go back in the car. I mean, we gotta put new bearings and everything in there too, which that'll be for another day, or maybe later tonight, just depends on how wild we get. What are you making under here? Spaghetti?
Bunch of spaghetti.
Bunch of spaghetti. So Chris and I get real frustrated when it comes time to put this exhaust in, so we normally don't film it, but we can show you the finished product. Each pipe is an individual pipe. It's split, and then you have a separate collector here that you fill with anti-seize, then you fit it back over here, and then you just hammer it in place with the most precision. Anybody at home that thinks that putting an 8-into-1 in their car is a good idea?
Don't do it.
Sounds cool. Literally, that's it.
Well, Bill's gonna hold the camera.
Well, Bill the camera.
Big vlog guy over here.
Big vlog guy.
There you go.
Vlogging
Bill's
guy.
in charge. I don't think he knows which way is which. Big vlog guy.
There it is. Oh, you're filming it. You filming it?
I'm filming
You're
it.
just filming hands.
No, I'm filming the whole thing. It's panoramic.
Not as bad as we thought.
How do you shut it off?
Here, you hold it. Shut up like this. Yeah, touch the screen.
Touch the
Yeah,
screen?
touch the screen, it shuts it off. Can
No.
you touch it again? Yeah, one more time. That's... No, I'm just
Screen.
kidding. You just look like an idiot. Just making some good progress here. Transmission's in. You watched us battle that thing. Next is wiring, plumbing. But most importantly,
What?
16 grand, I know what I got.
Look, man. Hang my line. Oh, wait, that's valuable.
R.I.P. in peace. This was such a nice car.
It was really clean.
It was showroom
It's still-
quality until
Let's
Dylan
just
got
let's
hold
just
of
hope you can sell it before these videos come out.
The video's gonna come out and they'll be like, what did I buy? And they're
Whoa!
just gonna watch our savings account. Yeah, I don't know. It was pretty clean though.
Yikes.
All right, here, Dylan, turn the camera off. Yeah,
Okay.
touch the screen right there.
Yeah.
Touch the screen right there.
Okay.
They turn it off. No, right.
Okay.
Right there. Touch right there.
That's, you want me to touch the camera?
Right, that's how you turn it off.
The screen or the camera itself? It's not dirt.
Yo dudes, Nick here again. We're about to do some fun stuff tonight, and I'll give you a couple tech tips about this. Tonight we're replacing all the rod ends and the uniballs and all the control arms, trailing arms over there. We run FK rod ends in literally everything in the shop. Always have, always will, because they make the best quality product, and you can find them literally anywhere. A couple things you're gonna need to do all this: a crescent wrench, because I don't remember the sizes for anything, a hammer, pry bar for twisting stuff, AGM AccuCenters, which I'll explain how those work, a pair of calipers. You're gonna also need a Sharpie to write down your measurements, and the AGM uniball tool to help knock out these uniballs. What I don't have here is snap ring pliers, but I will get a set of those and show you how that all works. We use grease. A lot of people use anti-seize, but we service all this stuff so much, we just use the grease in there. Anti-seize lasts longer, but we kind of like the grease. So this is a very annoying job to do, but it's something you gotta do to make sure your car finishes and it stays nice and tight. And yeah, okay. All right, see you guys later. AGM AccuCenters is a tool that we use to help us keep the trucks aligned when we take things apart and we start prepping things. This is what they look like. Everything from 1/4 to a 1 inch. A real nice piece here. It's got a O-ring built inside. It's got like a center here so you can measure stuff on. So what you do is you take your rod end here, which this upper is the upper control arm. off the front of the truck. Everything was aligned when we took it apart, and so for us to try and keep it as close to aligned as possible, we'll grab this one here, which is a 7/8, because I believe this is a JMX 14T 770, and you snap it in here like so. You want to make sure that this is all nice and flush and perfect around here, around the center here, and then you'll take your set of calipers, and then I'm a cheater and these are digital readouts, make sure they're set to 0, put it in here, find a point. I usually use like the edge of the control arm like so, lay it out 2.224. so then I'll take the marker here and I'll write down 2.224. when I pull this rod end out, misalignment and everything, I will put this into the new rod end, which is here, like so, same thing I just did, thread it in and measure it out until it's the same measurement. So that way the alignment stays really, really close to the same. And I'm realizing you guys are probably annoyed that this fan is on. But you know what? I don't care, because it's 100 degrees and it's 9 o'clock at night, because we decided to prep these things in the middle of summer. So, cry about the audio. But yeah, so there we go. Pretty simple tool, saves you a lot of headache that way. I mean, we'll still probably align the truck, string align it and do all that stuff, but this gets us really, really close to the wheelhouse. And then I'll show you guys how the uniball tool works next. But yeah, so I'm gonna knock these two out and keep jamming. When it comes to greases, we like to use the red Maxima assembly grease. And I'm running low here, and I'm sure I've got like another case of it somewhere, but that takes work. And I've got plenty of that to do, so here we go. So thread this back in here, voila, toot toot. Thread it in, thread it in, thread it in, thread it in. My neighbor's thinking crazy, talking to myself. Tool in here, and something to know too, so on the rod ends, you'll notice that there's writing on one side, and I usually try and kind of keep track of that. And like obviously if it was in one way with the writing down, I'm gonna try and put it back with writing down, because hopefully the thread pitches are pretty darn close to the same. So put that back in there. Hopefully I didn't break my calipers dropping things. 2.224. You'll never believe this. What's that say? 2.225. Huh. Huh. First time. Rock on. Now I'm gonna do this another 1, 2, 3, 4, 100 times. So now let's take a look at this in all its glory. Nice, fresh, new, bitchin' ready to go. And I don't always tighten the jam nuts until it's on the car, just to snug them up in the chassis. Makes things a little bit easier. But yeah, so there we go. There's one down. I got 100 to go. I'm not gonna bore you with watching me do all of them, so see you later. So I'm gonna see if I can do this whole thing in one take, because this AGM uniball tool is just the best thing ever. And the parts that Andy and John built here, nice and straight and true. So what we're gonna do, replace this guy, the new one of these guys, which used to not be very fun. You'd have to go upstairs to the press. I'm looking over there because there's upstairs. You have to go upstairs to the press and press this thing in and out, and it would always like get sideways and eat up the uniball, the cup, the uniball cup. And you have to start all over, and it's just not very fun. So what we have here is we have this and this and this and this. Oh, and that part, that's the AGM uniball tool. We have snap ring, pliers, screwdriver, wrench, half-inch drive impact. I don't need these. Gonna need that. Don't need a cell phone. So what we'll do is we'll pop this snap ring out. Let's see if we can do this all one-handed without getting myself in the eye. Oh man, this is talent. Oh, somebody hire me. Come on back. Look at that. All right, cool. So that's the bottom side. Snap ring always goes on the bottom. It only fits in one way. We're gonna flip this arm upside down. Sorry, Mr. Camera. Now you guys asked earlier what I had this pry bar for. Actually, I'm just kidding, nobody asked, because this isn't live. There we go, spin that thing around. This one goes here, pushes against the uniball like so. I always like to drop this end in, let this part spin. Is it right, is it wrong? Nobody knows, I'm sure AGM knows. This part goes on the bottom. It's got a little chamfer to it, put that on the control arm side. Up through there, bam, washer, nut. Put that thing there, bam, bam. Thread that thing all the way up and in there. like so. You can't see. Put this here on the top, this here on the bottom. Voila! There we go. Merry Christmas. There's a uniball out. I started filming 3 minutes and 10 seconds ago. You want to see me put the new one in? Now we're gonna do the same thing in reverse. Flip the arm upside down. All right, grab yourself a rag, a clean rag preferably. Wipe out the inside of your uniball cup. Make sure there is no debris. Nice and clean in here. We take our real nice grease here. We're gonna put it all over the uniball cup. Now, any of you old timers, or I mean, I'm not that old, but back in the day, before this great tool, I always remember having to put my uniballs in the freezer, and then you'd have the torch out for the control arm to get the tolerances to open up and change. Well, those days are over. Now you can just do this. Fun thing, if you look real close on the uniball, it says USA right there. You probably can't see it because this is a GoPro, not a real camera. Always put the USA to the top so the world can see what kind of cool parts you got going on. So set that Johnny in there, get it somewhat started. I like to tap it just a tiny bit just to make sure we're going the right direction. Yep, we're good, we're home. And then we are going to take our tools. This place is a cluster. Bam, that guy goes there. This guy goes back over here. Bam, bam. Little righty tighty lefty loosey action. Go to hold it with your face sometimes if you're by yourself. Boom, should pull it in nice and straight. Same thing in reverse. Turn the gun forward this time. Back in, here we go. Bam. There you go. Ow. Try not to drop the tool. Snap ring in. There we go. 5 minutes, 26 seconds. There it is, replacing the uniball. Well, there you have it. All that stuff ready to go in the car. That's almost ready. Ready to go in the car. Sway bar links, upper links, lower links. All in a night's work, my man. See you next time. Boop. Perfect. Poor compressor's gonna get a workout. And, into the pivot, huh? Ooh, no, this goes this way. There we go.
Nick finds Dylan in the back, punching a compressor.
Don't you dare.
If I just put my finger in here, I'm just gonna sit here and do this until I make enough air. You're gonna film for the whole few days that I'm gonna be here?
Where are we going?
You know? You think I think things through? Yeah, Ian, you got it.
This is such a heavy compressor.
It's so big. Let's just put it in front of the brick wall.
Like right here in the corner or something?
Or wait, hold on. Before we go downhill and don't want to go up anymore.
Let's figure out where it's going.
Yeah, you want to go up?
Yeah. Something like that. All right, never mind. Don't worry about it for right now.
Sound good. Back to work.
Just leave it there for the moment. We'll figure that out in a second. You guys ever see Johnny Tsunami? I don't know. Take that out of the video.
Hey Nick, why do you use grease?
Why do I use grease? We've just found that grease lasts longer and holds up better than the anti-seize. Like the anti-seize works fine, but it kind of like gums up and gets kind of hard to get out of everything when you gotta clean. And we take this car apart so often that the grease is easy enough to clean off all the parts and make them all new again. Jeez. Hang on now. There you go. Now whack it. Voila. should whisper.
Yeah.
The whole damn truck's moving.
Is it?
Watch the phalanges.
How do you get the nuts on? Bobby?
You don't.
Sweet.
Nuts are for later. Watch. Oh, it's soft now.
Give it a little harder now that it's in. Just get a little.
Oh, step bro. Oh, step bro.
Ah! What was this? A door built in the late 1800s?
Yeah. This is like me. Oh, it's like me when your mom walks in, dude.
That doesn't sound the engine. Truck.
A little more.
You guys didn't grind those ones?
Oh. Sometimes it's a good day.
They said that was going to be a pain in the ass.
Yeah, I thought so too.
The remaining suspension was installed, and with the majority of the truck complete, the engine is now ready to be fired up for the first time to check for any possible issues.
On today's episode of How It's Made, this is how you start a truck.
If there are any serious issues at this stage, it would mean serious trouble for the team. Fortunately for them, everything's running smoothly.
It's really loud, but it sounds really cool, so we have to make a decision.
What was smoking right at the dash right there?
So we put all the new heat shield wrap on everything, and then like with us handling the headers and all that stuff and getting grease and oil and stuff all over the headers, when you fire them up for the first time, it just burns all that stuff off.
Oh.
So it'll smoke like that the first 4 or 5 times we run the truck, and then it starts going away. So just gotta burn through all the junk in there. New seat in a can. Makes everything look new. Yeah, Dylan's in Missouri. Why is Dylan in Missouri? Who knows? The people want to know. Where is the man? What ground are these boots even on? What an amateur, dude, honestly. He's over there just crying. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Forgot. It's really expired. And it's no good anymore. A little less you want it to be brand new again. See, it's brand new. See, now it reads good. New fire extinguisher in a can. In today's episode of Nick and Chris smashing their hands, installing seats. We're gonna put the cab on. We're gonna get a nice classic cab. Stop filming. Cab's on. See ya. Watch out, dude! Move, Will. Camera view's in the way, bro. Hey, yo, dudes. Nick's brother here. It's not funny. What are we doing, Chris? What's going on? Talk about this car. Man, we've been terrible at filming things, but it looks like we've done a lot of things. But what's going on now? What do you got going on? Tell me a story. What are you working on?
Once upon a time.
Nope, that's a shitty story. What do you got? Zeus pins? Cool. Putting panels in? Nice, dude. Hey, what's all this stuff right here? Is that heat shield products that keep your legs nice and cool?
Yeah, it's kind of like a spaceship.
Nice, dude. Big spaceship guys here. Yeah. Lots of zip ties. Huge thank you to Rugged Radios for these things. These little soft guys. They're like soft ties for when you're pulling cables real tight so you don't mess up the communication cables. Tight cables. Yeah, we went through and replaced a lot of the interior stuff. Intercom cables, not push to talk, so that goes through all that stuff in the center. And air blower filters and all that.
So this is one thing. When you're designing the interior of your car or truck or whatever you're doing, you want to make sure that your panels are like really accessible and easy, especially in like a critical area as such right here, because the spark plugs are on the backside. We didn't fail to do that, but we kind of failed to do that to make this easy to work on. It's kind of like a really complicated jigsaw puzzle. So take into account when you're doing your interior panels to make it easy to work on, because we didn't. So that's enough. That's all I got, Will.
Make some good progress. The old rig's coming together. We're just
taking a mental break from putting aluminum panels together, because no matter how many times we've done this, it's always a real
It's a jigsaw puzzle.
fun task.
Every time.
it's like all those go inside there and make up the footwell. But
We're getting there. We got 26 more days, 27 more days.
I think we'll make it. We're supposed to be.
I think so too.
It's gonna go to wrap, what, next week? It'll go to wrap next week, because we get shocks back on Monday. Andy's coming down to do the alignment, and then it goes to smoke to get wrapped, and then we'll do some sort of photo shoot deal, and then we'll go testing.
Sounds like a pretty good plan to me. Okay, let me know when you're done, Chris. I'm out of here. Catch you later.
With less than a month remaining until the race, the assembly process is basically complete. Next episode, the team takes the fresh new rig on a shakedown in Plaster City.